Well, hello, friends, and welcome to the show. Happy Thursday. Can you believe the week's been moving so quickly? Welcome. I am Winnie, your host, an award winning financial pro, a Forbes contributor, and a CNBC council member and contributor. And as you know, we're streaming live on many different platforms. So let's get started.
Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun. Award-winning financial pro. Get ready. Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Well, hello, friends. It's great to be here with you. Happy Thursday indeed. Wow, I see so many of you joining us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, and everywhere else. Thank you so much for making the time. It is such a treat to be here with you. As I mentioned, I'm Winnie, and for those of you who are brand new to the show, welcome. We are definitely live here, and so I can monitor your comments. So jump in, don't be shy. Let me know how your day's going, how your week's going, in fact, because it's a busy one, right? Let's take a look. Unfortunately, I wish I could give you some more news to kind of kick off the show. It's not quite as beautiful as yesterday. We know there's a lot of our friends on the East Coast, especially in Florida, are suffering today. So our thoughts are with you. Hopefully you can get through. I know many of you also don't have power. So if you have family and friends out there, I know you've been checking in on them, but let us know how everybody is doing. Currently, the Dow is in the negative, down 153 points as we have about a little bit more than half an hour left to go before the market does close here. But the Nasdaq joins down 21 points currently, and the S&P 500 is also down over 18 points. The market hasn't closed yet. Hopefully it'll improve some, but I think overall there's been definitely some pressure. We're seeing as the S&P 500 continues to fall, and one of the reasons is actually reported by CNBC's Samantha Subin, talking about how some of the slippage is occurring because of the September Consumer Price Index report that came up that showed a 0.2% monthly rise and a 2.4% annual rate, which unfortunately was higher than expected, which of course leads us as investors to be worried about the Federal Reserve slowing their potential rate cuts. Now, I know many of you were hoping for a rate cut in November, but now even the Atlanta Fed president has said that there should possibly be a pause in rate cuts. Now, do know that we only had one in September. It's not like we had a whole bunch of rate cuts. We're starting to feel like inflation was getting to be more normal, to get in a healthier level, and that there was hope in the horizon. But unfortunately, now they're saying that, well, being that we're still feeling some inflation pressure, that maybe they should hold off lowering rates in November. So let me know what you think about that. Like it, don't like it. Certainly for those of you who are sitting on or waiting to purchase maybe a new real estate or purchase a car before the end of the year, and you might have to take out a car loan, or if you're sitting on credit card debt, this isn't the best news. But unfortunately, there's a situation that we're currently at. In fact, small cap stocks, they typically are a little bit more sensitive to interest rate changes, and they're definitely experiencing some notable pressure with the Russell 2000 down as well. And of course, the insurance industry is going all over the place today with the some of the news that's coming out of course, Hurricane Milton, and what that has done to the Florida area as well. Um, but what we're talking about now is, of course, uh, what I really want to talk about today is really the topic of streaming. Now, I know many of you have written in, talked about your frustrations, and even asked about what to stream and things like that. But let's get real for a moment, because I know many families, many households continue to spend money on streaming services. Now, you could be one of the rare families that doesn't. Maybe, you still use traditional TV, maybe you use a satellite, whatever to get. Maybe you just use YouTube for your entertainment. But many, many American households now do spend between $20 and $40 per month on streaming services. Now, if that sounds like you're certainly in in big company. Now, there's also a share of American families though that are paying over $100 per month, and that's increased significantly. And then we're talking about just streaming. So in 2024, over 16% of households now currently spend more than $100, which double compared to previous years. Now, what are we looking at? Well, since 2021, spending on streaming services has increased by 70%. Now, this has been driven by US households subscribing to multiple services. And of course, it doesn't help that a lot of these streaming platforms are just getting that much more expensive. And in fact, over 50% of millennials and Gen Xers now actually subscribe to two or more streaming services. So this rise in the number of households with three or more services is now, it's just kind of eye-opening. It's a big number, and this has a lot of pressure on household budgets as well. In fact, to give you an idea, the average cable TV bill still hovers about $80 per month. So streaming services are still, for most people, sort of an attractive alternative to typical cable. So many households now are like being picky and choosy about which ones they continue to use. However, many cable plans now can actually reach even as high as $100, which can align to some of the premium streaming bundles as well. Now, some of you might say, well, I do have more than one streaming service, but for me, we use the ad supported options, so they tend to be a little bit less expensive. But my question to you, and this is a big one, is this: how many of you use more than one streaming service? And let's be honest, how often do you check out and use um, sort of your number two or number three provider? And if the number is not even once a week or once every few days, maybe it makes sense to reconsider and what you currently utilize and what you're currently using, right? So one of the big articles that came out this week is being shared by The Verge, talking about Apple TV, how Apple TV Plus now is expanding its reach. They're actually going to be joining another big streaming service. Apple TV Plus is coming to Prime Video. So this now will be available as an add-on with Prime Video for those of you here in the United States, an additional $10 or $9.99 per month, which is the same price as subscribing if you were going in directly with Apple. Now, this is expected to increase Apple TV Plus's audience. By doing so, they're leveraging Amazon's extensive subscriber base. But nonetheless, this kind of gives you an idea of like what else is out there, because in addition to obviously Apple TV coming here, Apple currently has many other streaming services, including uh, like uh, Prime Video itself, and even like Disney Plus now, and Hulu, and other ones. But Apple TV has had some challenges, even though they had some really popular shows like Ted Lasso and Severance, but they've really struggled to compete with some of the major streaming services, namely Netflix, right? So research has indicated that Apple TV Plus has actually a higher cancellation rate compared to some of the other streaming platforms. For those of you who have had Apple TV Plus, have you canceled it? I'm just curious to see your thoughts on this. But yeah, so that's one of the changes that they want to do. They want to make it more convenient for people to subscribe, so they are adding themselves onto the Prime platform, if you will. But speaking of subscriptions getting out of hand, like this is sort of the show that I really want to kind of deep dive into this for you, because there's so many articles coming out. And there's another article that's coming out from The Verge talking about the challenges now with password sharing. Now, for those of you who've been to Costco lately, you know that they're really cracking down on membership sharing. And so streaming platforms are all in on this as well. This is, of course, shared on The Verge as well, talking about how Disney Plus is now going to be introducing a $6.99 monthly charge for password sharing. That's right. So if you want to be sharing, your Disney Plus and your Marvel experience with a family or a friend, well, now it's going to cost you a little bit more money. It's going to be called extra member add-on chargers. So $6.99 to be supported with ad supported plans, and then a whopping $9.99 for ad free as a add on, not even as a Prime member membership. So that's going to be happening. And then those with bundle plans like Hulu and ESPN, well, that could be additional costs as well. You have to take a look at it if that's the case for you. But Disney has already begun rolling out this feature here in the United States, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Europe, as well as Asia Pacific as well. And they're warning that with improper password sharing, and of course, Netflix is doing this as well. They started already earlier with page sharing. Um, they plan to, of course, raise their subscription prices. Disney Plus is raising its subscription prices across all their platforms in October. If you have Disney Plus, you probably got this email. I subscribed to Disney Plus. I got this email this week, and I was like, "That's getting a little expensive." But if you're using it, that's your primary one, then maybe that's the case. But they do find that now subscriptions in general have gotten sort of out of hand. According to an article shared by Bloomberg recently, the subscription economy has now surged. Once the COVID pandemic started, consumers are really facing challenges and are becoming more cost conscious about what they're paying for. But nonetheless, things continue to get more expensive because we keep adding things that we feel like we need. Now, subscription services have expanded way beyond streaming, includes products now such as even toothbrushes and printer cartridges. And I mean, just think about even exercises like, right, your gym membership, but even like Peloton bikes, even like meal kits. I know some people subscribe to that. And even many people even have pet subscription boxes come into their houses as well. So this is sort of like the sort of this new type of business, but this isn't new in terms of how much we're talking about. This is nearly a $1 trillion market. That'll be 1 trillion by 2028 because businesses are tweaking their strategies to retain customers. And what happens is so many times you'll subscribe to something like this and you'll forget to unsubscribe. And that is where they get you because they will continue to raise prices and sometimes offer less perks. But because we're busy, well, sometimes we just have what they call subscriber inattention, which is a failure to track or cancel subscriptions, which results in higher revenues for businesses, sometimes as much as 200%. This is according to research. So regulatory bodies such as the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, is now starting to crack down on practices to make sure that we aren't getting hooked into these subscriber traps, and most importantly, that it's easy for us to unsubscribe as well. So households now are spending over $100 just on streaming, which accounts to about $1,200 per year. You add that over 30 years, you tack on a 6% annual rate of return that you could have earned on that money had you maybe invested it in some way, right? So you're talking over 30 years of a whopping $60,000 that really could go towards things like your retirement savings or, paying off your home or giving you more financial independence. So this is actually a big thing. One subscription I'm all in and I love that I would love to see more of you embrace is the concept that I will call the retirement planning subscription, which is in 2024, the Roth and traditional IRA contribution limit is now $7,000 per year up to, right? There's no minimum. You don't even have to do it at all if you don't want to. But 7,000 for those of you who are under the age of 50. And I know for those of you who are over 50, well, you actually can contribute $8,000. That is a subscription that makes a lot of sense. But to give you an idea, I mean, I get it. Like it's hard. I mean, we've got so many things that we're juggling, but definitely keep on top of your subscriptions and find ways where you can decrease. And what I love to do is what I call the streaming toggle. The streaming toggle works like this: submit yourself to one streaming service, maybe every quarter or every 6 months, and then cancel and then toggle to another one that your household thinks that they want to try. And you can just go all in and watch everything you want for a little bit of time. And then you can go to another one knowing that you can always come back. You can always come back. It's not permanent, it can be temporary. And most importantly, don't forget, days and shopping days such as Black Friday actually offer some incredible deals we've seen historically on streaming deals. So why not cancel things, this month, or maybe just keep one and then see what bundles and discounts become available next month. And then that could save you money, right? There's so many different plans out there, and it's be honest. I mean, there's like no shortage. If you even have money, someone's got a streaming service or some subscription to sell you. But our goal is to keep more money in our pockets. So some of the ways that I want to share with you, some savings hacks. If you have these services, take a look at them because this could be a way to offset or even waive the cost of streaming for you altogether. I'm going to share with you some of the ones that I've utilized and I've actually shared with my clients that I think that might be interesting to you. One of them is to American Express Platinum credit cards. Now, I get that this is an expensive credit card. Not everybody has one, but if you have the American Express Platinum credit card, maybe you travel a lot, so you can use the benefits, and so the really hefty annual fee makes sense for you. Well, if you have that, it actually comes with a $240 annual credit for eligible streaming services, which include Disney Plus, Peacock, Audible, and other things like that. So you can take a look at that and you can split payments across multiple services to maximize savings. But you have to make sure that if you have that card, now I wouldn't get the card just for this, but if you already have the card and you feel like you need to have the card, then you just want to make sure that you enroll on the Amex account online, activate the benefit, and then check the list of eligible services. They do change sometimes, so you would want to be on top of this. Don't just set it and forget it. Another thing is, I know many of you are T-Mobile mobile cell phone plan users, and so you want to take a look at that because some of you might have a benefit called Netflix on Us, where you can get free Netflix with one of their eligible T-Mobile plans like Magenta and One. So you want to check for that to see if that's available to you, and then also check your plan for additional perks such as Apple TV Plus or Paramount Plus. Now, another one that I think a lot of people don't know about is if you have Instacart Plus, and especially since some premium credit cards now actually provide their members with free Instacart Plus membership. Now, if you have Instacart Plus, some members actually also receive free Peacock Premium, which is really great. So you can actually combine sort of my biggest shopping supermarket hack, which is curbside pickup, along with getting free Peacock Premium, which was really helpful for us during the Olympics season because in my family, we're big Olympic watchers. And of course, some other entertainment perks. So take a look at that. And if you have that, make sure you're on top of that too. And I wouldn't sign up again just for Instacart Plus, just for the streaming service, but it's something that you have and maybe you're given by one of your credit cards for free. You can take a look at that. That might be a way to save on streaming as well. The other one is to take a look at if you have Walmart Plus. Walmart Plus is also offered by some credit cards as a free perk, or maybe you have a free trial. Walmart Plus comes with Paramount Plus and their bundle. So, they get Paramount Plus Essential for free. So this could be a nice little benefit if you utilize, Walmart Plus and their shopping benefits. And I know they also do free delivery and some fuel discounts. And I think they have some like things that they do for the end of the year for Black Friday as well. But again, don't sign up for these services unless you need them. And ideally, if one of your credit cards that you currently have offers that for you as well. Another way to do this is to utilize family plans to split costs. So there are some family plans like Spotify Premium, Apple One, YouTube Premium. That might be one too if you have multiple people and it allows for up to 6 users. You could divide up the cost. That actually could save some money too. So take a look at that, especially if you have a larger family. That you could split the cost. And then, of course, you want to look at the annual versus monthly subscriptions. However, that being said, in this particular case, I do think it's better to stick with monthly subscriptions because I suggest toggling, canceling, and then using another one versus having more than one if you're paying. Now, if you're not paying, right, and you get from one of these plans, in most cases, you also want to pay by monthly because a lot of these plans, they credit by the month too. So then if you pay by the whole year, then your credit is smaller. So that's not a great thing to do as well. And then, of course, definitely watch for holiday promotions, annual deals for annual discounts. Usually, I see a lot of discounts come around Black Friday and through the end of the year. So take a look at that. And so, yeah, take a look at these different cards. And of course, if you have credit card debt, I don't suggest any of these strategies. I don't think you should ever, focus on credit card benefits and points and miles unless you're able to pay your credit cards out in full every single month at the end of the month. You should never pay for credit card debt interest if you can because it gets really expensive. And of course, I'm actually putting together some content for that on how to tackle credit card debt, but I'll let you know when that becomes available. But of course, there's a lot of different things that you can do. Take a look at that, do some research, and of course, pull out your bills and make sure that you know what you're paying on a monthly basis, whether that be your debit card or your credit card, wherever you use to pay for your budget or your monthly budget, your monthly expenses. Take a look and make sure you're not paying for things that you just don't need anymore. But with that, I hope that you have a beautiful weekend. And thank you so much for tuning in and being here with me once again. Currently, let's take a look. We've got about 12 minutes left before the market's going to close. The Dow is currently down 116 points. NASDAQ currently down 20. S&P 500 currently down 15. I don't know. I mean, it's got 12 minutes left to go. I'm imagining we'll probably still end up in the red. I don't think something big is going to change anytime soon. So, hang in there. It's one of those days. But let's just hope that next week will be better. But for those of you who are, back on the East Coast, hopefully things will get better, and hopefully, you can start the process of getting back to that new normal. But thank you so much, my friends, for being here and being part of Level Up family. Do hit that like and subscribe to stay updated on all the latest content before we close up here, and to watch past full episodes of Level Up with Winnie Sun. Check out NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, Samsung, LG, or Roku, or any of the other streaming platforms. And when sharing an episode online, thanks so much for so many of you, Vicky and Joshua and everybody, for tagging at Winnie Sun to show your support. So I can probably thank you on a future episode as well. And of course, check out Yes Factor with Winnie Sun on Apple Podcasts or wherever you tune in. With that, be well. I'll see you again next week. Take care. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye bye now.